With Hurdlr Pro, you can easily invoice your clients and collect payments directly through the app. Before you create your first invoice, make sure to configure your invoice settings so your invoices are set up and branded for your business. To create and send a new invoice on the mobile app, tap the three dots in the top left corner, then tap on Invoicing. Tap the orange plus sign in the top right to create a new invoice. Select Business, and then from the drop-down select which business that the invoice is associated with. If you already have specific clients associated with that business in Hurdlr, tap the client field and select from the list. If you don't already have the client added, tap the plus sign in the top right, enter your client's name, and then tap Add. Then enter your client's email. This is the email address that the invoice will be sent to. You can also add emails for anyone you'd like to copy by tapping CC or BCC. Then tap Add Items to build each item in your invoice. In the description, enter the name of the item as you want it to appear on the invoice. For example, if you're a mechanic billing a customer for a specific car part, you could enter the name of the part. Then tap the quantity field and enter how many of that item you're billing for. Next, tap Price and enter the price for one of these items. If you're billing for more than one of these items, the total price will automatically be calculated. Then tap Save in the top right. If you have specific expenses or tasks already tracked in Hurdlr and tagged to the client, you can add them directly to the invoice. To do this, tap on Add Items, and then tap Search Expenses or Time. A list of all your expenses tagged to the selected client will appear, and you can choose one or more by tapping on them. To select time that you've tagged to the client, tap Task at the top. Once you've selected any expenses and time that you'd like to include on the invoice, tap Done. The expenses and time that you selected will appear as individual items on the invoice. If you need to apply a discount to your invoice, tap Discount to apply any necessary discount. The discount field will default to dollars, but you can tap the % sign to switch to a discount percentage instead. You'll see the adjusted total or balance at the bottom. If everything looks correct, tap Next on the top right. On this page, you can set the invoice information. The date field, which indicates the date of the invoice, will default to the current date, but you can change it if necessary. For example, if you're setting up an invoice that you'll send later. In the Terms field, you can select the invoice due date. Select one of the default options or tap Other to select a custom due date. If setting a custom due date, a new due date field will appear and you can select any future date. The frequency is how often the invoice will be sent to the client. You can keep it as a one-time invoice or choose one of the recurring options if the invoice is recurring. With the recurring options, the same exact invoice will be sent to the client at the frequency you set. If you'd like to send payment reminders to your client, you can toggle this option on. Payment reminders will be automatically sent via email, and you can change the frequency of the reminders in your invoice settings. If you'd like to add any attachments, like receipts, to your invoice, tap Add in the Attachments field. You can enter the name for the attachment and then tap Attach Receipt. You can take a photo or choose an existing photo or file from your phone. Then tap Save. In the Message field, you can leave the default message as is or edit it to include any notes you'd like. Then tap Next. On this screen, you'll see a preview of your invoice. If you'd like to make any changes, tap back in the top left until you get back to the appropriate page and make any edits you need to. If your invoice looks good, select a payment processing option. If you've set up a Stripe account, you can toggle on the credit card option. If you've not set up Stripe and plan to collect payment directly from your clients, you can toggle on the cash or check option. Note that you must toggle on one of these options in order to send the invoice to your client. When you've selected a payment option, tap Save and Send to send the invoice to your client. Or if you don't want to send the invoice right away, tap Other Options. Save Final without sending will save the invoice as a final version that you can print or send to your client at a later date. Please note that you cannot make any edits later if you choose this option. Save as draft will save the invoice as a draft that you can later edit and send to your client. And send as quote will send the document as a detailed quote for your services. Please note that you will need to send the actual invoice at a later time for your client to pay. The sent or saved invoice will appear in your active invoice list and will move to the appropriate section based on its current status. And that's how to create and send a new invoice. If you have any questions, just tap the chat icon in the top left corner to get in touch with our team. We're happy to help. Thanks for watching.